Welcome back to another episode of Security Skates. This is your host Paul, and on this episode, you will attend the Maxwell Park playground build that happened in the city of Anaheim, California. This playground build was in collaboration with the Anaheim Ducks and the Kaboom Playground organization. This took place September 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of 2025, and the playground opened the following Monday, September 8th. The first day was preparation and setup. I had never volunteered for a playground build before, so I didn't know what quite to expect. A big shout out to the organizers for having a call for volunteers. After I arrived and checked in, wanted to get a good shot of all the tools that they had out for the day. There's plenty of ladders and shovels, just a lot of tools to help build a playground. Had some wheelbarrows, some water hoses, a bunch of safety cones. A big shout out to Sarah and Peter of the Kaboom organization. They were spearheading this whole project for the volunteers, and it was a pleasure to be out there working with them. You can see this is where the playground was going. There's some more wheelbarrows, stuff like that. Had a bunch of dumpsters out, some storage containers. City of Anaheim was on site. You can see they had their signage out, inviting all to volunteer. All you had to do was register, show up, and be ready to work. Now, I wasn't aware of how much manual labor went into building a playground, but it was definitely a good experience to get an idea of what that looked like. Here we are here. We were just getting started. This was the first day. There were plenty of refreshments for the volunteers, and I was advised that we were waiting for a equipment truck to show up so that we can unload it, and it had all of the playground equipment that was going to be used to be built here. This is the empty lot. And I was really impressed with how it went from this to the finished product, but you guys will get a glimpse of that at the end of the video. This is the old sign here. They ended up ripping this out, but we see some more of that again later on in the video. This was the first day. We're just waiting around for the truck. There's the bulldozer. Plenty of work to be had. They did have restrooms available for all volunteers. Here's the check-in table. And here's that truck we were waiting for, finally pulled up. Nice long 52-footer. Let's go. So there were plenty of volunteers on hand, and what we had to do was pretty much pull out all of the playground equipment from this storage container and unload it into the grass area so that the construction workers can start to get an idea of where they had to line it up and stuff like that. We are inside of the trailer here. I was definitely starting to build up a sweat. If you've ever unloaded trailers before, which I have, yeah, you know that it is definitely a good workout. See here, we were definitely making some progress, getting some more tubes and equipment out. Plenty of volunteers on hand, plenty of city workers. It was cool to see the community just come together with a common goal to try and get this playground built, and we did just that. One of the things that surprised me while we were unloading this equipment is that some of the pieces that looked heavy were not, and some of the pieces that didn't look heavy were very heavy. So that was pretty cool to wrap my head around as we were unloading this truck. There was a big slide that we had to get out of there. It was actually bolted onto a pallet, so we had to get a socket wrench and get up in there, get that loosed up, get the slide out. There's plenty of signage, all kinds of stuff. Just every part that we needed for the playground to be built was inside of that truck. We also had this big storage trailer pull up full of wood chips, and it dumped a lot of wood chips that we needed to transfer from the grass area to the playground. You could see here we finally got the storage container unloaded with all the playground equipment, pulled it out of the truck, started to get it sorted. So the construction workers I referred to earlier were actually employees of the Tot Lot Playground Construction Company, and they were out there specializing, doing what they do, making sure everything was set and safe for the kids. Here's that pile of wood chips I had mentioned earlier. That was the most work that we had to do, but after this we had to sort out some parts, some screws and nuts and bolts, stuff like that. Get it all sorted. It all had some lot numbers, and we just had to organize them into bags so that the workers knew what pieces to use for what equipment. So we wanted to make sure that all that stuff was being organized correctly. Now, as a volunteer, I didn't know that lunch would be provided to us, but this was the Kaboom check-in table here where the volunteers checked in, and they provided us with Jersey mics on the first day. Some great stuff, really good stuff. I do appreciate that. We had our lunch break. Everybody was getting their food eaten. Wanted to get this video real quick so that you could see how far the playground was coming along so far. Some good stuff. So lunch was called, and everybody was to get back to work and start doing what they needed to do. I had my orange security skates cleanup shirt on, so I was definitely ready to get back to work and get some of these wood chips moved into the playground area. I gotta say, this is probably what we spent the most time on. You can see here we were using barrels, tarps, a couple other methods to get these wood chips into the playground. This is another thing I got schooled on. I didn't realize how much wood chips go into a playground. This was just the first load. This is about half of it, and you could see there were plenty of people working on it. This was probably what took the most attention besides planting the trees from the volunteers that we had to get in on this and start getting all this stuff transferred into the playground. And then we were advised that a cement truck was pulling up, so we had to line up these wheelbarrows and start transferring some of the cement that was coming out of this truck into the playground area where the tot lot workers needed it to be poured. Everybody was helping out on that, including myself, and yeah, that was a sweat maker for sure. Had to wheel these barrels full of cement over again to the playground area, get them in here. You can see that there. The tot lot workers are setting that. I don't want you to think that I was just taking a video of this. As soon as I stopped the video, I went over there and helped them hold up that rail. Here's that second load of wood chips that I was talking about. It is crazy to think about the amount of wood chips that go into a playground, but this is it right here, a good glimpse of it. Everybody had put in some sweat and we were pretty much wrapping it up for the day. Great work to everyone involved. We're going to move on to day 2. I'm going to call this load day. On this day we spent a lot of energy moving the wood chips from the big pile into the playground. But however, we were advised when we got there that we would only be out there until about lunchtime. It would be about a half day. The tot lot crew was not out there. They were letting the cement set from the day before. There's signage there for the check-in. You can see we didn't have as many tools out this day. Still had the check-in area with some refreshments for the volunteers. The City of Anaheim had pulled up with the wheelbarrows. This is a good glimpse of what the playground was looking like on this day. You could see the piles of the wood chips that were moving into the area. So on top of that, we also had to lay down some felt over this dirt here so that the wood chips would be kind of set on there. You could see the cement that was poured yesterday. Had some of the poles sitting in them. It was a beautiful day to work though. The sun was coming up and we were ready to go. Had to roll out some of this felt into this area. And by that I mean they had these giant rolls of like carpet sized felt. You can see it here. Pretty much just had to cover all the dirt area of the playground with that. We were cutting it and kind of shaping it and cutting around some of the open holes that were still there so that nobody would fall into them. Still had work to do with the wood pile. Had to move those into the playground area. The bulldozer was starting to help out with that. Starting to take giant scoops over there and putting it onto the sidewalk a little bit closer for us. See some of that here. But we still had to transfer it into the playground area as there were some open holes and areas that hadn't been worked on yet, so you had to be kind of specific with where this stuff was going at that time. But it was a lot of fun. I can honestly say this was some of the harder work that I put in, just shoveling those pretty much all day. A lot of fun. But again, we were only going to be out here a half day, so I wanted to make sure that I was putting in a good effort and a good amount of work. And if you recall that Maxwell Park sign I showed you guys in the beginning, this is it getting torn out here. Now, I don't know how long this has been here, but it has probably been there for years, decades, who knows. But yeah, they are ripping it out here. And this is all just part of a playground renovation. They did actually replace this sign with another one. You guys will see that a little bit later on in the video. Pretty cool stuff. Definitely wanted to get a shot of this happening here. I almost wanted to take the sign home with me, but it would not fit in my car. Pretty cool. They ended up just throwing it away, going to the recycling bin. But yeah, there's that sign getting removed there. Part of the renovation for the playground. Pretty cool to see. Again, they did provide lunch for us this day. And it was some Pep's Pizza in the City of Anaheim. Some pretty good stuff, not gonna lie. If you're in that area, definitely want to check them out. And as I said earlier, we were told that we were going to be free to go by lunch, so they fed us and cut us loose. You can see a nice big salad there, some really good stuff. Enjoyed that lunch. Thanks for that, y'all. We're going to move on to day 3. This was the ribbon cutting day. This day was huge, y'all. There was the Anaheim Ducks out there. We had some city government out there, plenty of city workers on hand. There was more Kaboom staff out there this day, and of course, plenty more volunteers. So I was hyped to get there and see all this stuff happening as compared to the 2 days before. They had a proceed with caution sign. They still had their signage to check in at the table for the volunteers. We had ABC 7 on hand, interviewing people. We had the Anaheim Ducks truck pull up. There was a giant hockey player inflatable. The Anaheim Ducks Foundation had an information table out. There was some signage here letting people know that they had to register to volunteer. A whole lot more going on this day. As well, they were handing out shirts promoting the Maxwell Park playground build. Just good vibes all around. It was a pleasure to be out there and see all this stuff happening on the final day. And I am not even going to front. I was pretty sore this day. I was starting to get blisters on my hands from the wheelbarrows and was getting sore from all the work that we were doing. For sure was taking some aspirin, but I was happy to be out there and see everything that was going on. Now, I knew the Anaheim Ducks were here, but I did not know that Wild Wing was going to be out here this day. Sure enough, there he was, taking pictures with some of our volunteer leaders who were going to be leading some groups on for the day. Pretty cool to see Wild Wing out there doing his things. Definitely brought the energy to the day for sure. We were getting started and it was getting close to the ribbon cutting, y'all. Now the ribbon cutting did happen, however the playground didn't open right away because some of the cement needed to be set and some of the canopies still needed to be put up. But you can see all the work that had been put in right here, and there was still plenty of work to do. Being the final day, there were some city leaders that wanted to address the volunteers and some of the other staff and let us know what a great job we were doing. You're going to hear some of that soon. But it was definitely a high energy vibe out there on the last day. So it was a pleasure to be there and be ready to work and just put in some sweat. Let's go. So first off, I believe we have Peter from the Kaboom organization, and we're going to start off with him. Check this out, y'all.
Working to end place-based inequity, we are so honored to be partnering with the City of Anaheim, that's right, and the Anaheim Ducks. So this is our 18th project with the City of Anaheim and our 3rd with the Anaheim Ducks, and we're so thrilled to be out here. We have Wild Wing, we have mulch, we have a playground. We are ready to go. I want to introduce a couple
is out here. I mean, building a park in a community that needs it is an amazing feeling. But to get to do it with Wild Wing, that is pretty awesome. That's pretty much something only Anaheim can offer you, right?
Right.
And thank you so much, Peter, for acknowledging our City of Anaheim staff. If you work for the city...
As Mayor Aiken said, we're super excited. This is the 3rd opportunity that we've had a chance to partner with the City of Anaheim and our great friends at Kaboom. It's such an amazing project when you can combine our fans, our staff, our corporate partners, and everybody with the City of Anaheim together to do something special for the city and the kids here so they have a safe place to play. So thank you very much, and thank you in advance as we'll have our players.
A flower, a tennis ball, that's right, a ribbon, that's right. So go ahead and look down at your name tag. You have a sticker on your name tag that corresponds with one of these posters. And right after Wild Wing gets us stretched and warm,
You know what you're supposed to be doing, so make sure rule number 1, you gotta listen. Rule number 2, safety. That's right, safety. You gotta be safe. It'll be hot today. We talked about our...
Let's go. Everybody was hyped to be there and ready to work. You can see that here. There were plenty more volunteers out there again this day. And I was assigned to the planting team. Shout out to everybody digging holes for the trees and plants out there. So we're to beautify some of the dirt area in front of the playground here. So go ahead and set those plants. Laid some mulch around them. Made everything just a little bit more prettier. A little beautification process. Did this a little bit more on the other side of the playground. And then we got started with some of the trees over by the school. I was surprised by how many plants and trees were planted in such a short amount of time, but it's just because of all the volunteers that were putting in work on it. This hole was pretty tough. We had to chisel at this thing. We were calling it the impossible hole, but we got it finished. Got those trees planted. See some more work going on over here. Now, there were definitely teams out there this day. As I said, I was part of the planting team, but there was like the wood chip team, there was a cement team, all kinds of stuff going on. Had the Boy Scouts out there, you can see that there. And we actually had to measure how far down we were planting this tree. And this, again, was the impossible hole. On day 3, they did provide us lunch one more time. And these were some delicious tacos from Taqueria Hoy. They had chicken, asada, some beef, all kinds of flavors and sauces. Gonna give you guys a little peek at what that looked like. Came in a little plate with your tacos. Had some rice and beans. Some good stuff. Highly recommend that if you're out in that area. Came with lime, some salsa. I had brought my own sodas that day. But after lunch, it was time to get back to work. So the assigned teams had pretty much finished up the work that they were assigned to do, and all volunteers were called over to this wood chip pile to get this moved. And it did take most of the volunteers to get it all set and into place. You can see everybody working at it here. Had the wheelbarrows, the tarps. Now I was periodically stopping to take a video, but I definitely was in there putting in some sweat. You could see we got that thing whittled down to just a little mountain. Definitely got that finished up. But we just had to start raking and moving the wood chip piles into some of the areas that had just been worked. You can see Wild Wing there, putting in his work as well. There were these rubber mats that had to be set under some of the areas where the kids would like touch down from the slides or jumping areas and stuff. And I don't know how he did it, but you can see Wild Wing there with all his gear on, helping us out, putting in work with those volunteers. Let's go. Love to see that. We were putting the finishing touches on this playground as far as the volunteer work went, and it was a sight to see. Shout out to all the volunteers that put in their sweat and work out here. You can see we were still moving around some of the wood chips, getting them set into place. We were wrapping up for the day, and they were getting ready to present it to some of the kids that had put their input in on how the playground should look. And there were students of the school next door, so they're really going to come out here and see this playground every day. So that was really cool to find out. But you can see, this was pretty much the finished product as far as our work went. They still had to put up some canopies and let the cement set over the weekend, which is why it wasn't open until the following Monday. But it was looking real nice when you think about how the lot looked when it was empty at first. There was nothing built to this. An amazing playground that'll be here for generations and let the kids come out and have some fun on here. It is really cool to think about. There is Wild Wing doing his thing, taking some pictures, and then we had some heartfelt thank yous coming up. Go ahead and check this part out, y'all.
Personal thank you to my friend Eric and his crew from Tot Lot Pros, who made sure that we installed this playground according to the certified playground safety inspection standards. And I want to just thank all of our amazing volunteers that came out for the last couple days. We had Love Anaheim, and we had make some noise for the playground designers. Nice. Like I mentioned this morning, just over 2 months ago, these are the same students that came together with Wild Wing to make their vision written in stone. And
you know, to all the volunteers, the students behind me of Maxwell Elementary, I cannot say thank you enough.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you, Wendy, and again, thank you to all our volunteers. All right, well, I don't have 7 more paintings sticking out. Not the coolest day. Please feel free to grab some water on your way out. And thank you so much for your hard work, dedication, and perseverance. And have a great afternoon.
Love that. The vibes were high, and it was so cool to see the kids out there and get to see the finished work. Now, Maxwell Park Playground is just a dog's run away from the dog park that they have there. I went there the next day, the following Friday, after we had completed the playground, and it was still being worked on. The canopy was being set up. There was a fence around it. Again, it wasn't to be opened until the following Monday. This is a shot of it here. Definitely wanted to get my dog over there so that I could show him why I'd been gone for so many hours for the last few days. That's the new sign there. Give you guys a better look at that in a bit. Here we are here. This is the park rules. Went back about a week later when it was all opened up. Give you guys a view of this sign. And that replaced the old Maxwell Park sign that was there. Check this out, y'all. There's families playing. There's kids playing, having a good time. It was beautiful to see. I usually volunteer in skateboarding aspects of park activities, but to come out here and help build this playground was so much fun. It gave me that same feeling of passion and love that I get from going out and skating with the kids. So any chance I get to do this again, I definitely will. You can see some of the signage here, some warnings, some welcome signs. Adult supervision is strongly recommended. 5 to 12 years old. Kids rule, have fun, play safely, watch out for each other, laugh a lot. Has a barcode for Kaboom. Definitely going to want to get out there and check out this new playground in Anaheim, y'all, if you have little ones. It looks like a lot of fun. Reminds me of when I used to run around on the playgrounds with my little one. I do miss doing that. But this playground will definitely hold a spot in my heart forever. A huge thank you to the City of Anaheim, the Anaheim Ducks Foundation, and the Kaboom Playground Organization for inviting volunteers to come out and get involved. The enjoyment I got from participating and getting this kind of work done was amazing. Can't wait to do it again. If you're digging this content, be sure to check me out on Instagram at security_skates. Keep up with our next skate park cleanups and skate lessons. Security Skates Productions is a skater-owned independent enterprise and skate parks advocate. You can find out more about it by logging on to securityskates.com. This has been your host, Paul, signing off. Now get off of YouTube and go skate, y'all. Or go build a playground. Happy skateboarding.